I think we should give people the opportunity to plan for that sort of a take back. So I look at the county treasurer's office as someone who can bring a broad base of knowledge and experience to the table and say, did you ever think about it this way? Or did you ever think about it this way? And then taking that even further, perhaps being able to network with local other legislators within the state to see if there are some things that can be done on the state level that may help the government and help then in turn anybody else who relies on funding. So that's just where I think.
What kind of angle are you approaching this question on?
Well, I don't really have an angle. It's just your general philosophy of government, of free markets, and how you see the Treasurer's Office as contributing to what you'd like to see in society and the government.
Thank you. Well, I guess what I'm thinking of is from a national standpoint, the Dodd-Frank bill was passed to take us out of ever having to go through the 2008, 2009 recession again, and that makes financial transactions more transparent, on and on and on. Yet, not one banker has been put in jail for the credit default swaps they put in, for the CDOs and everything that they had. And it was egregious. I mean, Goldman Sachs, what they did was crazy. So nothing's happening. The bill was passed. They're trying to get to the point where they can define the derivative markets and everything, and they haven't done it. They're close, but they're not there yet. On a local level, if you're treasurer of a county, I don't know if you can really impact free markets from that standpoint. The key to the job I see here in Lake County is the treasurer has to get with the downstate legislature and the commissioners and get the laws rewritten so he can do his job better. Yeah, we're really restricted on what we can do and can't do. They dot the I's and cross the T's. But if you read those 5 pages, 2 of them are devoted to what you can invest 1% of the money in. And by the way, it's possible. You have a $150 million float. That means money is coming in and going out like a sea. So you can have longer than a 1-year obligation taken care of. I think Crocker had 5 years ago, he had a 5-year obligation that he did, and he got like 5.7% interest on it. So money, the way it moves and talks to you is very important. You better know what you're doing if you're sitting in there and you've got that responsibility. I think I've got the experience in handling the money. Thank you.
Okay, you know, I think that my understanding, my perception, my dealings in government really is very elemental. As a public servant, it is my job to do the best job that I can with your money. Certainly this job doesn't give me the ability to dictate to other departments, to other public officials for that matter. Strictly through the Budget Commission is there any interaction between the public officials for whatever reason. I firmly believe that the government should be responsive to its people, responsible to its people. As far as its impact on the Treasurer's Office, again, I think that it really is pretty limited. I live by example and certainly would be able, certainly would provide that to you, through what I do. It's really pretty simple.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to take some questions from the audience, if there are any. One thing that I would note, just as an observation, this is a fabulous facility. I was in the commissioner's kind of room for a meeting. That was a fabulous facility. And when I left practice in Lake County to go to Cleveland to become a federal prosecutor, things were a lot smaller and they weren't as lavish, but it seems like everything that's funded with taxpayer dollars now is a Taj Mahal. And in a way that's nice, but in a way I think it's kind of a symptom of something else, the kind of growth of the public sector. But anyway, are there any questions anyone has for our candidates for treasurer?
We've got a microphone if anybody has a question.
No, we can't see see.
Don't worry, you
I
can't
can
see.
you. Yeah.
That's-
Yeah, regardless, we're blinded by the light up here. Testing 1, 2. Which is a good sum of it.
If you got to choose what you would spend, like, if you got to choose what the most important thing you would spend your money on, if you were treasurer, what would it be? County money.
I think you're referring to, if you're treasurer, you're in office and you've got your staff and you're working day to day, besides all those things I was talking about for investments. One of the things I think that we really need, and I don't want to second guess John Crocker, the present treasurer, but if you go to his website and you go to the treasurer's website, you'll see that the reports he has for property tax values are kind of old. They're very hard to understand. In other words, there's no definition of the column you're looking at, so you don't know if it's a yearly tax or a 6-month tax. There's a bunch of digits, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, $1,500, 0, 0, 0, 0. I think I know what those are for. That's an old programming technique that's put up. One of the things I'd like to do that I think would be very important is to bring the office into the 21st century with new software and update of the system so it's easy to understand. And I don't know, I haven't had time to investigate it, but when people pay their taxes on a monthly basis, I don't know if he's collecting that money or if he's letting the banks hold that money until the 6-month tax bill is due. So that's another area I'd look at to allow people to pay their taxes equally over a 12-month period rather than, I think we get hit with one bill and then another bill, and one bill is bigger than the other bill because of some other things that he has to face. So that to me would be very important because number one, it always confused me. Why can't you just give them a little bit every month if you want to? I wouldn't, but if you want to. Or why can't you just pay electronically? Why do we have to go down and give them money, write a check and give them money? You can pay electronically. I pay almost 99% of my bills electronically. Why can't we do the same? I hope that answers the question.
Short and simple, I think that the most important thing for me would be to have good staff that works efficiently, that isn't a waste of tax dollars to pay them, and a heavy focus on getting these collections down at a most efficient cost. And you can't pay your taxes online, but they charge you for that.
Yeah, there's a fee.
There is a fee.
We eliminate the fee.
And you just don't really think that the banks would not want to make any money on those escrow accounts, do you? Probably the most important thing to me, and I think everybody has kind of alluded to expenditures, I would like to see if there was any extra dollars. Now this is if there were extra dollars. I would like to see a program put into place to help people who are suffering financial distress be able to get their property taxes in line before they would go to tax foreclosure. I think that we spend a lot of money on tax foreclosure. We have to spend legal fees. It has to go through, they have to jump through all kinds of hoops in order, and the county gets their money, but we also, any levying agency knows that we also pay for that as well, and the county does take some money off the top just for that. So I would like to see some of these things, if we had extra dollars to work with, that would be one of the most important things that I would like to do.
Any other questions? Any other questions? In the back here?
We might ask for first to Pat. Pat was,
You're right.
in 1912, 1913, they brought us their income tax. Maybe for the rich, which allowed them to watch. What I don't like about the school tax is
We can't hear it. We can't hear the question.
Speak into the microphone.
Hold a little closer.
Yeah, hold it closer.
70 or 75% of your property taxes for schools. What I got against that is you don't pay your property tax for throwing you out the street. Now, I understand